If you enjoy this video, then hit that subscribe button down below. We're trying to hit 3K and we are so close now. Let's see if we can do it before the start of the season. But let's get into the video. So in today's video, I thought I'd talk about the Australia pre-season Leeds United tour because it has just come to an end. The players aren't on the planes back quite yet, but the actual football's come to an end and we've only got one pre-season friendly left to play, and that's against Cagliari, and that's at Ellen Road. Now we'll be going to that, so you'll actually get a match day vlog of that one, which we haven't had for a few months now. So yeah, it'll be exciting to put a match day vlog back up on the channel and get back in Ellen Road and get the atmosphere going again. I'm really looking forward to that. But let's talk about the pre-season friendlies. So we started with a game against Stoke and again against Blackpool in England, so I thought I'll just quickly mention them. The Stoke one was behind closed doors and apparently we won 1-0 through a Bamford goal. Then obviously we beat Blackpool, played really well early on with our first teamers, and as we started to switch it up and add all the under 23s and those sorts of players into the mix, it tended to sort of kill the action a little bit, and it was the same story when we went to Australia as well. So Blackpool, we scored some good goals, we created some good chances, and it looks like we were being really exciting in our attacking football, which was a very good sign. In Australia, it's been a bit of a mixed bag. Let's start with the Brisbane game, as that was the first one. So in the Brisbane game, we started really, really well, and we were creating chances early on. To me, the players that really stood out were Rasmus Christensen at right back, who was really, really good at being strong, aerial presence as well, which is good. And he was able to get the ball down and control the play in that defensive third. And he was very calm and collected on the ball and very good at tackling and getting the ball back up the pitch again to the attacking players. The other one who really stood out to me was Brenden Aaronson. Now, Brenden Aaronson I thought was brilliant. When he came in, I was thinking that he could go either way. He could be a flop or he could be really, really good. And it seems to me as he's going to turn out to be a really, really good signing. The way that he plays is something that we've been lacking for a while now. We've been missing that spark, and it's a bit of a different style of play, because where Jesse Marsch's tactics towards the end of last season were relying in the transition, as they will be going forward. But it's about getting the ball to the players who can find the best passes and the best outballs and get up the pitch and counter-attack as fast as possible. But Brenden Aaronson offers something a bit different. He offers breaking the lines with his dribbling, dropping the shoulder, taking on a man, and then driving into the opposition half and finding feet then, or finding chances, creating chances. So I think he offers something different that we've not had, and I think that could mean that he starts every week for Leeds, because I think it's a really, really good thing to have, and I enjoyed watching him throughout the pre-season. The other one as well I want to mention, Mark Rocker. Mark Rocker, his passing is absolutely excellent. I think I've said this before in a couple of videos, but him and Tyler Adams are going to be really good together, because Tyler Adams, he was tenacious, he was strong, he was good in the tackle as well. I did a tweet about we're skipping ahead a little bit here, but about the Crystal Palace game. We had almost a bit of a scrap with Jordan Ayew, and he showed a bit of guile and a bit of ability to stand up for himself, and I liked that about him, and I think a lot of Leeds fans will like that about him, because we like our players to be strong, stand up for themselves, and not back down from a fight. So yeah, Tyler Adams and Mark Rocker as well really impressed me in pre-season. The Brisbane game then. So at the start, it was a similar story to the Blackpool game. We had almost our best players on the pitch that were available to us, and we created a lot of chances. We scored, I think it was about 18 seconds in, Brenden Aaronson scored, but it was offside, but it showed early on how many chances that we could create against them, and we did in the first half. We created a lot of chances. It was only 2-0 at half time, but it could have been a lot more. We created a lot of chances. Joffy was good in this game, created chances, and he had shots in all of the games that he played in, so Joffy's really impressed me as well this pre-season. But yeah, like I say, all the subs start to come on. They start bringing in the under 23s and stuff, and it does break down a little bit, but that's just because you're making so many substitutions. And that's what pre-season's for, really, is trying all these players in. Darko JB came in, and the best thing about him, I can say, is that he didn't look like an under 21, or he didn't look like an 18-year-old, to be honest. That's his age. He didn't look 18. He looked like a fully fledged first teamer, and if you told a non-Leeds fan to look at the team and said that he was a regular first teamer, I think they would have believed you, because he did all the right things, he made all the right passes, he didn't really make any mistakes, and so that's really good to see from him. It's a maturity beyond his years in a footballing sense. So yeah, that game ended 2-1. They did score later on, but I think if we'd have kept our team on from the start, we could have put 4 or 5 past them. But yeah, it was nice to see that. I think they had loads of trialists coming on as well, because that's just a bit what it's like in Australia. In pre-season, they have a lot of trialists. There's not a massive amount of money in football in Australia. So yeah, they had a lot of trialists coming on, and the game became a little bit bitty. But they did score later on, and it did end 2-1 that game. The next one was against Villa, and now I didn't watch this game, but from what I've seen from the highlights, we just aren't clinical enough. And I think, again, early on, we created a lot of chances, which is obviously really good, and it's really promising, because towards the end of last season, we weren't really creating enough opportunities at goal, and that was one of our biggest downsides. But we were creating a lot more chances in the games against Villa and against Brisbane. But we didn't finish them, and in the end, it came back to bite us. They got 2 penalties. The first one was a handball that was just point blank, so there's just no way that Tyler Adams is ever going to be able to get his hand out of the way of it. That one, Coutinho shot from the penalty spot. Meslier made an amazing double save. If you haven't seen that, just go on YouTube and search Meslier double save Aston Villa, something like that, because it was unbelievable. And he also made a really, really good save against Ollie Watkins, who went one-on-one through on goal, and he managed to do one of those diving sort of tip it over the bar, just landing on the top of the net. So Meslier, again, like, he's incredible. I don't really understand how anyone could be doubting him anymore. I've said for a while now, he's absolutely unbelievable. He's going to be one of the best goalkeepers in Europe in a few years, and probably getting nearer the France team, given that Hugo Lloris is getting on now, pretty much. But yeah, in the end, that one was 1-0 to Aston Villa, because they were able to get another penalty, which I think it was the second handball, and it really wasn't a handball. It again was point blank range, and so Danny Ings scored that penalty, and they won that game 1-0. The only worrying thing for me in that game was that we didn't take our chances when we really could have done. But the story between the Villa and the Palace game as well is that we seem to be getting counter-attacked on very easily now. In my last video, if you haven't seen that, check that out. That's in the cards up there, or up there. I never remember which. That's in the cards up there. But I talked about how we press, and so if you want to watch that video, that explains our whole pressing system, and you'll understand this a bit more if you do go and watch that. But essentially, when we squeeze, we all push into quite a tight space where the player has the ball, but it's been too easy for these teams to break that press and to get out of our press and break the lines and counter-attack and get opportunities. In the Palace game, which I did watch in its entirety, we did concede a lot of chances through counter-attacks, and that is something that is a little bit worrying to me, especially because Palace had a pretty much half-strength side. Their players like Wilfried Zaha, Eze, players like that are all back in England playing friendlies as well, because they've had a bit of a strange split pre-season. But the amount of opportunities they were able to create and the amount of opportunities Villa were able to create on the counter-attack is a little bit of a cause for concern for me. So I think, obviously, we're still in pre-season and we're not playing full-strength teams for 90 minutes. So you can't tell 100% if this is the shape, the way it's going to unfold. Basically, the shape will be the same, but whether the personnel on the pitch not being changed up as much will help us or hinder us, that is yet to be seen. But I hope that when we go to this Cagliari game at Elland Road next Sunday, which, like I said, I'm going to, I hope that we have a little bit more of a full starting 11 and maybe only make a few little subs later on instead of making the subs on the 30th minute and stuff like that, because I'd like to see us basically go at a team with our full strength for 60 to 90 minutes and try and actually have a sort of a pre-visualization of what it's actually going to be like against Wolves on the first day of the season, because so far we've seen so much chopping and changing that I'd like to see almost a full strength squad go out there, play, and then maybe later on Bamford could come off for Gelhardt, and you could make those sorts of substitutions that you would expect to see, but a bit later on. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in that Cagliari game, whether we do go full strength or whether we do a bit of the chopping and changing that we have been doing. But for me, I think it would make sense to go a bit more strengthened, because at least you can see then whether we still do get caught on the counter-attack completely and whether that is something that we need to be seriously concerned about. But yeah, that's been it for the Australia tour. It seems like the lads out there have had a lot of fun. They've been surfing, they've been signing things at JD meetups. They've been meeting people, having pictures, doing all arounds basically, and so it seems like they've had a good time out there. And I think it was nice for them to do that, because Patrick Bamford said in one of his interviews after the Palace game that he had been on pre-season tours and tours before where you never really got out of the hotel much. I mean, I know Ben Foster talked about it on his podcast when he was talking about going for England and stuff. They go into these amazing places, these beautiful places when they go into World Cups and stuff, and they never really got to see it because they were just stuck in the hotel because of all the paparazzi and stuff. Whereas I think it's been a lot more relaxed with this Australia tour for Leeds, so they've actually managed to get out on the beach, go surfing, enjoy themselves, and I think that's really good for them as well, especially for camaraderie with the new recruits coming in. Brendan Aronson and Tyler Adams, I think, said that they've just felt like they've been here for months because everybody's been so welcoming and so nice to them. So that's really good to hear from a fan's point of view, that the lads, because we know that we like this group of players. You know, we discussed it on the midweek fix on Wednesday night, that we know that we like this group of players because of the way they present themselves. They seem like they're a nice group of lads. They seem like they've got a togetherness, and that's obviously good for us to get behind. So yeah, it's probably been a really good experience for those players, and especially the new ones bedding into the new team, the new club that they're at. So yeah, they'll be home in a few days, and then they'll be taking on Cagliari at Elland Road, and then a week after that, no, maybe a bit longer than a week after that, they will be playing Wolves at Elland Road on the first game of the season. So before then, we'll have some pre-season predictions, and hopefully we might have signed Callum Owendo, another striker from PSG. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next few weeks, but there'll be plenty more videos on the way. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you next time on Leeds Lately.